Now that we've taken the plastic off of the PlayStation Jam Packs for the PS2, it's time to get to the full games that I have. One for the PlayStation 2 and one for the Nintendo Gamecube. The reason I'm sporting the referee shirt is because these games are sports or sports related. So I'll be talking about these kind of in depth as opposed to the Jam Packs where we were just kind of looking at what was in each one. What I want to do is I'm actually going to do the GameCube game first. And that is this guy right here. This is the World Series of Poker official game for the GameCube, which came out in 2005 for the GameCube, the PlayStation 2. I believe the Xbox had its own version. And there were subsequent games in this series which were a little bit better, but this was the first. Obviously, poker, you can argue whether it's a sport or not. ESPN certainly covers the World Series of Poker every year. You see WPT broadcasts, I believe, on Fox Sports every so often. Poker on TV, it's just associated with sports. Some people argue that it's not a sport. Others will think that it is. Some others think that it's entertainment. But when I classify games in my library, I tend to put poker under sports primarily because that's where you see it on TV. Is it's generally at least related in some way to sports entertainment. So, World Series of Poker video games. What's the point, right? You're not getting any money out of these, but playing a poker video game, especially if you don't have a lot of experience, can catch you up to speed pretty quickly. True story. I had never played Texas Hold'em, and I was going somewhere where I could actually take part in a cash game. So I needed to learn how to play the game awfully fast. So I picked up World Poker Tour for the Game Boy Advance, and I played that. I was working both as a karaoke DJ and in a call center. I was working two jobs at the time. So during my downtime, when I wasn't taking calls or before I would get to a show to get started, I would get a few hands in or play through a tournament, and I would learn how to play. And believe it or not, when I actually went to that party to play the game, I actually wound up $75 that night. I got lucky. I wound up playing on a hunch to hit a flush, and I hit the flush on the river, and I wound up winning a big pot, which put me over the top. So I got lucky for sure, but I learned the ins and outs of poker through playing the video games, like I have with a lot of sports. So that's really the significance with the World Series of Poker game. Personally, I tend to favor the World Poker Tour games, but the World Series of Poker is certainly not terrible. This price tag says $29.99. I got this for $1. So now I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take the seal off of here. Maybe. I don't know what I did with my keys that I had from the last video. So now I kind of have to just hopefully get this sucker open. Maybe. This always tends to happen. I really should have been more prepared. There we go. So we're taking the plastic off. Plastic in the garbage there. When we open up the World Series of Poker game, we see the small mini DVD in there, red in color. There it is. We also see the instruction manual for World Series of Poker, and I believe that is Chris Ferguson there on the back. Take a shot at the title. The manual is not in color. It is a black and white manual. It does walk you through the different hand rankings and the very basics of how to play the game. Really not much to this. There are different variations of poker that you can play. Texas Hold'em, Omaha, Omaha High-Low, 7-card stud. Raz is also here. Because in the World Series of Poker, especially when they go to Vegas, they play all of these different variations of poker. It's not just Hold'em like you see on ESPN every year. So that's a look at the World Series of Poker for the GameCube. Again, I got this for $1. So it's really cool to have a brand new copy that hasn't been played, and this sucker's now 12 years old. So that's pretty neat. The other game is an actual legitimate sports game. There's no arguing what it is. And while it's not my favorite game in this particular series, it is prominent because of the time of year. This is ESPN College Hoops. This is the 2K4 version, which you can see right there. And the ESPN video games are synonymous with awesome presentation values during the sixth generation of consoles for the Xbox and for the PlayStation 2. The Xbox was the lead development console for these, especially for 2K4 and 2K5. So if you played these on Xbox, you got a little bit better experience. Having a hard drive certainly helped, especially when we're talking about NFL 2K5, for example. Their replays that would play during highlight shows, the ESPN Sports Center shows, if you had a hard drive, it would actually save those to the hard drive so they would actually play in real time. Whereas on the PlayStation 2, you get still shots while Chris Berman rattles off what each play is. So this is, again, College Hoops. I like College Hoops, I do, but it's not my favorite of the sports. I'm more of a football, hockey, baseball, and then basketball guy. But it's hard not to get caught up in the whirlwind that is the NCAA tournament during March. Filling out brackets and trying to figure out what team's going to go where, even before the tournament starts, trying to get all the teams seeded is some pretty exciting stuff. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to open this real quick, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about the ESPN games here. So we'll take that off. This obviously going a lot smoother. Dump that in there. This does have the security seal. There it is, ESPN College Hoops. And we'll go ahead and we'll try and get that removed. Or actually, you know what? I'm going to do what I did before and just kind of force it open. There we go. And we'll take the security label off, maybe. There we go. So we'll take the security label off of there. And on the inside of the case, we do see an instruction manual and we see the disc. The instruction manual is pretty healthy in size. If we take a look here, it is 32 pages in length, and while it's not in color, it does have a rundown of all of the controls and the gameplay modes, and that's pretty neat stuff. And on the back here, we see Allen Iverson pimping ESPN NBA Basketball 2K4, which is also pretty fantastic. I really can't say enough about how much I enjoy the ESPN series of video games for the PS2 and Xbox. It's I'm a big fan of presentation value in games. It's certainly not the most important thing to a lot of people, but to me, getting that TV-like experience just makes me feel like I'm there. And these particular games really did a great job of making me feel like I was watching an ESPN telecast. You get the legitimate ESPN studio talent. They're making the right play calls. The instant replay system is pretty much what you'd expect. You're getting correct stat overlays, and they're timely, all using the ESPN graphics package. And the games are fun to play regardless of your skill level. You can be a novice and set the sliders all the way down so you can score at will, or if you're a really good player or someone who's really into realism, you can set the sliders however you want. And that's not just for college hoops, that's for ESPN NHL hockey, for NFL football, for NBA basketball, and for college hoops. It is a shame, however, because we're on the cusp of March Madness beginning. As I record this video, it's February 16th, so we've got just 12 days left in February. It's a shame that we haven't seen any more NCAA basketball games. The last one really being NCAA Basketball 10 by EA, which is another game that really blows production values out of the water. I really like the dual presentation between CBS Sports and ESPN. It really shows. And I love talking about that game because it's another one of those that I can play it. People will walk by and they'll think that they're watching a game on TV, and that's really the mark of a great presentation package, is when people are fooled into thinking that they're watching a game on TV rather than someone playing a video game, and that's pretty special. It's a shame that the ESPN series kind of fell by the wayside. EA, of course, taking over the ESPN license not too long after Sega jumped ship, and Visual Concepts went over to 2K. So there was a new presentation package that was built. ESPN went to EA, and EA really didn't use them very much outside of NCAA football, which is another thing that doesn't exist. So it's pretty neat to have this brand new, not been played, and it's very timely with the tournament just around the corner. I'll be trying to spend some time going through my bracket of 64 and seeing how close I can get to the title. So it's been fun opening these. I hope you enjoy these unsealed videos as much as I enjoy putting them on camera and actually unwrapping the stuff. I know it pisses off some collectors, but that's okay. In my opinion, the reason I buy games is to actually play them, and that means actually having to open them up, put the disc in the machine, and actually let them run. And that's what I'm going to do. Thanks for watching. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you check out my channel either on VidMe here, or you can check it out on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe. If you like the stuff, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Until the next time, my friends, take care. See you later.